Hello everyone, welcome back to another SNHS Podcast series. I am your host, Lucia and Tammy, and I am here with
Tammy Tran.
and we're going to be covering TEAC B.10a. So let's get started with our content objective. Describe the interactions that occur among systems that perform the functions of regulation, nutrient absorption, reproduction, and defense from injury or illness in animals.
So the question of the day is choose one set of animal systems below and describe the interactions between the systems.
So you should be able to answer this question by the end of the podcast, and you would submit your answer down below in the comments. But first, let's get started with a warm-up. Body systems interact to perform various functions. Which correctly describes these interactions? Select 3 correct answers. So at this moment, you would pause the video to try to figure out which of these 5 answer choices are correct. So the answers are A, B, and C. We know this is true because for answer choice A, it states that the respiratory, digestive, and circulatory systems work together to transport gases and nutrients throughout the body. The respiratory system is responsible for gases, the digestive system is responsible for nutrients, and the circulatory system is responsible for the transport of these gases and nutrients throughout the body. We know answer choice B is correct because it states that the integumentary and nervous systems interact when a person experiences itching caused by a mosquito bite. So we know that the largest organ in general, is the skin, which is part of the integumentary system. And the nervous system is what sends messages throughout our body. So the nervous system would send the message of itchiness throughout the skin, which is why we experience it whenever we are caused a mosquito bite, whenever we are bitten by a mosquito. We know that answer choice C is correct because it states that the respiratory and muscular systems interact when the diaphragm contracts, causing the chest cavity to expand, which moves air passively into the lungs. We know this is true because the lungs and diaphragm are 2 of the major organs included in the respiratory system, and the muscular system is responsible for any sort of movement or contraction within our body, and that includes organs and limbs. We know answer choice D is false because it states that the digestive and circulatory systems work together when metabolic waste generated by muscle fibers are eliminated in urine. And the circulatory system is not responsible for the elimination of urine. We know answer choice E is false as well because it states that the skeletal and muscular systems work together to provide a constant supply of oxygen to cells, so neither the skeletal or muscular systems are responsible for the supply of oxygen to cells.
Here is the organization of the compounds in a body from smallest to largest. It starts with the cell, tissue, organ systems, and end with an organism. Here are the organ systems and functions. Organ systems work together to keep your body in good health, and there are 11 organ systems in an animal's body. The 11 organ systems are integumentary, skeletal, muscular, digestive, endocrine, nervous, immune and lymphatic, reproductive, circulatory, respiratory, and excretory. Fun fact, your organs are a different age than you are.
First, let's get started with the integumentary system. The integumentary system is mostly responsible for the protection and temperature control of the body. The largest organ in the body, which forms a physical barrier between the external and internal environment, is the skin. The functions of the integumentary system is physical protection, immunity, wound healing, thermoregulation, vitamin D synthesis, and sensation. So what this pretty much means is that, for those who don't know, thermoregulation is really just the regulation of the body's temperature. Vitamin D synthesis is whenever we absorb vitamin D from the sun through our skin, and immunity is just what the skin grants us against the external environment.
So here are the most important parts of the integumentary system. It involves skin, nails, hair, hypodermis, and associated glands.
Moving on to the skeletal system. The skeletal system is mostly responsible for the support and protection of the body and organs. The skeletal system is made up of bones, which give structure to the human body. Bones protect vital organs and work with the muscular system to help us move. Bone marrow is a soft inner part of most bones in the body. The spine is made up of many vertebrae and provides the main central support for the human body.
The skeletal system supports and protects, so it consists of the skull, the vertebrae, which is a spine, the ribs and sternum, clavicle and scapula, humerus, ulna and radius, which is the arms, pelvis, which is your hip bones, femur, tibia, and fibula, which are your legs.
Now we will be moving on to the muscular system, which is mostly responsible for movement, also known as contraction. Muscles attached to the bones or internal organs and blood vessels are responsible for movement. Nearly all movement in the body is due to muscle contraction, the shortening, tightening, or lengthening of muscles during activity. There are nearly 600 muscles in the human body. The three main types of muscle include skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. So skeletal muscle is the muscle that is attached to the bones. Smooth muscle is the muscle that is in our organs. And then the cardiac muscle is the muscle that is in our heart and our blood vessels and veins. The brain, nerves, and skeletal muscles work together to cause movement. This is collectively known as the neuromuscular system.
So here's a little diagram of the muscular system just to give you an idea.
The digestive system is responsible for the physical and chemical digestion and nutrient absorption of the body. The digestive system breaks down food into simple nutrients such as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. These can then be absorbed into your blood so your body can use them for energy, growth, and repair.
The digestive system is made up of your mouth, esophagus, which is your throat, liver, stomach, pancreas, large intestine, small intestine, rectum, and anus.
The endocrine system is responsible for the hormonal control of reactions and homeostasis, also known as response to stimuli. The endocrine hormones help control mood, growth, and development, the way our organs work, metabolism, and reproduction. The endocrine system regulates how much of each hormone is released. Many things affect hormone levels, such as stress, infection, and changes in the balance of fluid and minerals in blood.
The endocrine system is made up of the hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid, parathyroids, adrenals, pineal body, ovaries, and testes.
Now we're moving on to the nervous system. The nervous system is mostly responsible for the control of the body, senses, and response. The nervous system includes the brain, spinal cord, and a complex network of nerves. This system sends messages back and forth between the brain and the body. The nervous system is made up of the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system includes the brain and spinal cord. The peripheral nervous system includes the nerves that run throughout the whole body.
So this is a picture of the nervous system. What you need to remember is mainly the brain and spinal cord.
Now we're moving on to the immune and lymphatic system. The immune and lymphatic system is mostly responsible for defense against pathogens. The immune system is a complex network of organs, cells, and proteins that defends the body against infection while protecting the body's own cells. The lymphatic system plays an important role in the absorption of fats from the intestine as well.
Here's a diagram of the immune and lymphatic system. It consists of white blood cells, antibodies, lymphatic system, spleen, bone marrow, and thymus.
The reproductive system is, of course, mostly responsible for reproduction as well as the production of gametes. New life begins when an egg from a woman is fertilized by sperm from a man. Eggs, also known as ova, are made in the ovaries and sperm in the testicles. The ovaries and testicles, also known as gonads, also make sex hormones. The female reproductive organs are the vagina, womb, also known as the uterus, fallopian tubes, and ovaries. The male reproductive organs are the penis, the testicles, the epididymis, the vas deferens, and the prostate gland.
And this is a diagram of the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system.
The circulatory system is mostly responsible for the transport of nutrients, gases, hormones, and other components. The right upper chamber of the heart takes in deoxygenated blood that is loaded with carbon dioxide. The blood is squeezed down into the right lower chamber and taken by an artery to the lungs where the carbon dioxide is replaced with oxygen. The oxygenated blood travels back to the heart, this time entering the left upper chamber, and it is pumped into the left lower chamber and then into the aorta, which is an artery. The blood starts its journey around the body once more. So this was just really a description or a short summary of how the blood moves throughout the heart.
And this is a diagram of the circulatory. It pumps oxygenated and deoxygenated blood on different sides. The types of blood vessels are arteries, capillaries, and veins. There's different types of blood, red blood cells, white blood cells, and of course plasma.
And the major organ of the circulatory system is, of course, the heart. The respiratory system is mostly responsible for gas exchange. The respiratory system takes up oxygen from the air we breathe and expels the unwanted carbon dioxide. They are filled with thousands of tubes, branching smaller and smaller. The smallest components of all are the air sacs, called alveoli. This is where the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place. To stay inflated, the lungs rely on a vacuum inside the chest. The diaphragm is a sheet of muscle slung underneath the lungs. When we breathe, the diaphragm contracts and relaxes.
So here is a diagram. The respiratory system includes the nose, mouth, throat, voice box, windpipe, and lungs.
Finally, we have the excretory system. The excretory system is mostly responsible for filtering and removing metabolic waste. The human excretory system includes organs that facilitate the removal of nitrogenous waste from the body. Kidneys filter the blood, and urine is the filtrate obtained. Urine passes to the urinary bladder via the ureter and is expelled out of the body. This is known as micturition. Kidneys also regulate the osmotic pressure of a mammal's blood through excessive purification and filtration. This is known as osmoregulation.
And here's a diagram. The main excretory organs include kidney, utera, urinary, bladder, and urethra.
So now that we know what the 11 body systems are, we will now be moving on to an example of interactions between the systems. So you might have noticed some occasions in which you might have thought that different systems work together while we were explaining the 11 systems, but here we would just get more into specifics and involve even more systems. So here we involve the respiratory system, skeletal system, circulatory system, and the nervous system. The example states, the respiratory system brings oxygen into the lungs, which are protected by the ribcage of the skeletal system. The oxygen then moves into the bloodstream to be carried to cells around the body by the circulatory system. The nervous system controls the muscular action of the diaphragm, which assists in breathing.
So moving on to the activity. At a haunted house, a child sees someone hiding behind some furniture. The child begins to sweat and feel as if his heart might be out of his chest from the adrenaline rush. Which body systems are interacting in this scenario? And there are 3 correct answers.
So at this moment, you would pause the video to try and figure out which of these 3 answer choices are correct. So the correct answer choices are C, D, and E. We know this is true because answer choice C states that the nervous and endocrine system are interacting in this scenario. So the nervous system, as we explained before, is responsible for the control of the entire body. So it sends messages through all these systems, all our organs, all our limbs. The endocrine system is responsible for any hormonal reactions in our body. And in this scenario, it says that the boy feels an adrenaline rush. And we know that the endocrine system is responsible for hormones, and one of these hormones is adrenaline. So how are these 2 systems interacting? Really, what's happening is that the nervous system is telling the endocrine system to send out adrenaline as the boy's fight or flight is activated. We know that answer choice D is correct because it states that the muscular and excretory systems are reacting in this scenario. The muscular system is responsible for any sort of movement or contraction in our body, including organs and limbs. The excretory system is responsible for any excretion of waste in our body. We know that these are working together because it states that the boy is beginning to sweat. And sweat is a waste from our body because we are expelling excess salts. So that is how we know that the excretory system is in function. And the muscular system is responsible for any sort of movement in our body. So the muscular system is causing the sweat glands to react because it's contracting. And that is what's allowing the excretory system to expel the sweat. We know that answer choice E is correct, which states that the circulatory system and respiratory system are working together. We know this because in the scenario, it states that the boy feels as if his heart might be out of his chest. So of course that would be the circulatory system in works, because it includes the heart, which is a major organ of the circulatory system. And we also know that the respiratory system is in work because the respiratory system is what transports oxygen throughout our body to keep our cells alive. And the circulatory system is what transports the oxygen throughout our body. So that is how both of these systems are working together in this scenario. And we know that answer choice A and B aren't correct because neither the reproductive, immune, skeletal, or digestive system are working right now in this scenario.
So now we have a QR code of a quizzes that you should do.
You should do for practice, just in order to put the knowledge that you learned from this podcast into action.
And here's a QR code for a survey.
This is a short survey so that you guys could review the video and give us feedback for our next podcast series.
And that is the end of our SNHS podcast. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button and smash that subscribe button so you can pass your STAR test.
And don't forget to turn on notifications for any upcoming videos in order to help you in your journey throughout victory. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.